We're off. Hello, Alison.
Hi,
How are you doing?
Oh, very well, thank you. Yeah, I'm good.
Lovely to have you here today to join me on the Wise Women couch, Wise Women Weekdays. And today, Alison, we're going to talk about colour therapy, and the importance of colour. So it's not Colour Me Beautiful, is it? Because that's how that I think tells people what suits their face, their eyes, their hair colour and stuff like this. What exactly is it that you do that involves colour?
Yeah, as you rightly say, Colour Me Beautiful is with the eye colour and your skin colour and how it actually enhances your look and how you feel. So there is definitely benefit in that as well. But I come from more of a colour pure therapy area. So it goes all the way back many thousands of years ago, and a lot of cultures have used colour therapy as a means of healing.
Yeah.
So let's just give you an example. Somebody who's quite asthmatic, has a problem to get their breath, feels clogged up in their chest or their lungs, you use the colour green.
Okay.
And green automatically as a vibration allows you to expand your lungs and take in more oxygen. So there's a reason why nature is green as a whole, because actually it's oxygenating us.
Yeah.
So it's actually allowing that oxygen to be circulated within our body, and green automatically does that. So even if we just look at the colour, that frequency that we see expands the lungs, expands the chest area, and it oxygenates and it decreases our blood pressure.
So it's quite interesting, and the colour green is always regarded as like a health colour, isn't it? And obviously you're seeing it out in nature all the time. But how do we use that in the therapy? What is the actual name of the therapy then?
Colour therapy. So it's just called pure colour therapy, yeah. And you could call it light and colour. I call it vibrational light and colour therapy.
Okay.
Because I think we're in this world now where vibration is a word that we're becoming very used to.
Yeah.
Frequencies are things we're coming used to. That's the physics of life.
Yeah.
And actually at school we would have been taught it as a physician.
Yes.
So a doctor wouldn't have been a doctor, they would have been physicians and used the physics of life to look at things holistically. Now we have doctors and they're very, in the allopathic area, very much dealing with heart, or they're dealing with knees or hips, very separate. But not the physician type, not the whole holistic approach.
Or the GP, the general practitioner, your local doctor. I mean, they can't deal with all these specifics. Can they quite often just look at a book? If you go in with a symptom, they look in a book because there's just too much information. And it's interesting when talking about doctors, because quite often if you go and see a doctor, I do try and avoid them like the plague. But they will not, with respect to the doctors, but I try and look after myself without going to somebody else for help. But they don't always say, what are you eating, or how's your sleep, or anything like that. They just say, oh, you've got these symptoms, take these drugs, go to the chemist and get your prescription. So it's
it's an allopathic. It's here's the problem, here's the solution.
Yes. Yeah.
What you find with light and colour therapy, for example, is that it's not a quick fix. Like all complementary, as it's called, but alternative therapies, they have to be taken for time. Homeopathy, it takes time. Yes. Light and colour therapy, it takes time. Acupuncture, it takes time. Because our bodies are not used to those frequencies and we don't adjust very quickly. What I'd say is with colour therapy and light therapy is once your body's got used to it, or once it knows what it is, it looks for it.
Right, that's very interesting.
So it looks for those colours as well to help with things. So you'll be attracted to green food if there's something going on within your lungs or your chest area. Because you were told by your mum, green is good for the heart.
Eat your greens.
Eat your greens, good for your heart. And that is exactly what it is, because green affects the heart area of the body. So it's a mix. It's a mix of physics, and also it comes from China, because of the ancient Chinese would have used all the colours as part of their healing process. And it's also Ayurvedic, so Indian, where the chakras and the energy parts also play a part in it.
So yeah, I think the chakras are really important because they all are colour coded, aren't they? And they all represent a certain element of our body physically and energetically.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So, but this is so. When you're saying using colours and using the light, is it a machine? Is it just going to wear the clothes? How does it actually work?
Well, I mean, the thing is that you can just use natural light.
Yes.
Natural light outside has the full spectrum of all the colours, everything that we can see. And it doesn't really matter if it's cloudy. If you can get 20 minutes to half an hour of natural light on the biggest organ of you, which is the skin, you actually would be receiving your health benefits based on that. Even better if you were naked running around the garden, but you would actually be receiving it. So you can just naturally have the light, and you can naturally have the colours around you, because Jacob Lieberman, who an American, he was an optometrist originally, so he dealt with the eyes. He wrote a book, and the book is amazing. It's called Light Therapy of the Future. And he says that 25% of what we look at is for our vision, and 75% is a vibration that goes down into our body. So when we look at the colours, they're actually going to the parts of the body that they relate to through the chakra system, and therefore balancing them. So you can have colours around, and you can absorb them through your eyes. That is the best way. So you can get colour glasses, you can get lamps that also have colour lenses on them, and you deal with the different colours, and you put the different colour lenses in. It really depends whether you're looking just for your well-being or you've got something specifically wrong with you. And then you can add specific colours for some of those things.
Wow, sounds amazing. I mean, if people have serious illnesses, can it help?
Yeah, I mean, the big C word is a difficult one, because really nobody's allowed to use the word cure. I have worked with a lot of people that have had all sorts of different forms. I do not shine the light directly on the tumours, but I would use the colours around the body that actually are rebuilding the emotions around that. So, for example, I work with a lot of people with breast cancer, and once the tumour has been removed or whatever, we use green a lot around the body, because it's about heart.
Yeah.
It's about the energy of the heart. A lot, it's in that particular location. So I don't necessarily shine the light on there, but maybe use it on a different side of the body, and allow that frequency to actually be adapted into that area. Definitely for the stomach area, yellow, solar plexus. So things like bad digestion, diverticulitis, there's that word. But anything like that, yellow is really good. It's a liver cleanser. So if you're having issues with your liver or your gallbladder or all of those areas, yellow is the colour you need. Now you think, but that's acidic. But actually, once it's in your body, it's alkalized.
Yes, it changes it, like lemon, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, when
lemon and more water.
Water, people say, but it's very acidic. But as soon as you put it into your mouth, I guess it's the saliva or something, but it turns
it completely, then alkalizes it, and much better then for the body. So you could say that you're receiving your yellow by having the lemon in the water.
Okay.
So you are receiving that as a colour, but you can also shine that on the body, and you can also have colours around you. I mean, you've got, your lovely blue pot in here, you've got oranges.
Yeah.
Orange is a fantastic colour for antidepressant.
Are they?
Yeah, it increases the serotonin, which is in the base, in the lower intestines, connected to the brain. So it's a feel good. Orange is that sunset, the joy, the sunrise, that feeling of warmth.
Yeah.
And so it's having it around you will automatically make you feel better. You can wear all these clothes as well. Your clothes can be colourful.
Yes.
We were just talking about being in London.
Yeah.
And I think I had a bright pink coat on with an orange scarf, and I could see people looking at me going, "What is that?" because I was bright. Because that's what I want to be. I'm a
beautiful blue now. My favourite colour.
The turquoise and that colour light. But what they don't realise is they're receiving all that healing
you're
from me, because they're
glowing.
actually looking at my and the amount of black that people were wearing. And I don't have an issue with black, but black is not a colour.
No,
it is just the absence of light.
Yes.
So once it's black and a bit grey and a bit beigey, it's not doing anything for your body, and your biggest organ is your skin. So it wants to absorb that.
And it's interesting, I met a new friend recently. We were just bumped into somebody, and we got chatting about what's going on in the world. We're very much on the same page. But she was talking about the colour grey. And she was saying, if you notice, there is so much grey in the world. I'm not just talking about the skies either, but grey cars, grey paint, grey houses, grey clothes. And I'm making an effort, because I've got a few grey clothes. And I think I'm not going to wear them anymore, because it is quite a depressing colour, isn't it? It brings you down, because when the sky is grey, you're like,
Yeah, and it's stuck. I find grey as a static. It's fantastic. If you're an interior designer, on a plain wall, it's fantastic. A soft grey or a soft beige, not purely magnolia, but then you can put all sorts of accessories in with different colours. People say to me, should I paint my house different colours? Well, you can if you wish, but then you have that colour for quite a while. So for me, it's about making the walls as neutral and then throwing in what you want. And then you can, if you're feeling under the weather, then you can add the brighter, the warmer colours in, the reds and the oranges and the yellows and anything within that spectrum. And then if you want to cool things down or make it a little bit more where you want to sleep. So like in the bedroom, I wouldn't be having orange or red particularly. I might have red if I want a bit of passion. But without that, I would have the blue and the indigos, the royal blues and the violets, because they're faster frequency but cooler. So they're taking you up the body, feeling a little bit more relaxed, much more calmer, not so much of that fiery heat. So
I mean, it's amazing, isn't it, how we just take colour for granted, but it does play a huge and important part in our life. With the actual therapy that you do, though, you're not just telling people to wear colour for health reasons. You do have this light that you're shining on. So is that a torch? Is it something on a tripod? How does that actually work?
Tripod, but you should put it with me. But I'll say, it's from a Swiss company called Bioptron, and they're the ones I've chosen because I love their lenses. And they make 3 different ones. A portable, like a travel, looks a bit like a hairdryer, and you take the lenses out and put different coloured lenses on. And then you've got a bigger one, which is for therapists, where you'd be lying down and you can have the light. You can have the light with all of the full spectrum, and you can also have it with the different colours as well. And the full spectrum light that it has, and then they make one for a hospital. So if you went to if you went to Hungary, you went to any Eastern European, Slovakia, Slovenia, anything like that, you would find that a lot of people have these lamps because it was so much more popular there than it's been here.
So we use them in our hospitals?
Well, we don't here.
No.
Unfortunately, we don't.
Not yet.
But the right hospitals, but they do in Hungary. What they do is treat them wounds. So when you shine the light on the wound, it heals the wound without it getting any disease within it.
And they use different shades of different colours as well?
As well. They do less colour therapy, more light therapy.
Right, okay.
And they have a lens that does all the lights. I mean, Bioptron's been around since the 60s, but now I'm finding much more people much more interested in that whole light and
people
colour area.
People are more open to different sort of ways of healing, aren't they?
They are, and trying out different things and thinking about it. And the people that I've met over the years that have a Bioptron and they love it will never be without it.
Oh gosh. So what they have their own. You sell these light machines
to themselves. So people that are in a lot of pain, I have a couple of customers that have like MS, have different pain. It's a pain reliever.
Okay.
So the light itself is able to actually relieve the pain. The body, the cells adapt to the light, and therefore it sends all the messages into that pain area. and relieves the pain.
So, well, I'm just going to shut the door in a minute because I can hear the drill there. But do you have to be clothed or naked? I mean, does it
Better
matter?
naked.
It's better naked.
But it doesn't matter if it is closed, because it will go into your aura.
Right, okay.
And then become part of you. It's a very subtle healing process, but quite profound over a period of time.
Just shut this door whilst we're talking, because I don't know what he's drilling. But you say we do live. This is real. This is what goes on in life, isn't it? Dogs bark.
Exactly.
So that's really fascinating. So do you need to be a therapist to operate these lights, or no?
No.
So you just you sell them to people, and they sit there in the comfort of their own home, watch the TV, reading a book or whatever.
Yeah. So people that have SAD, seasonal attention deficit. They can have the light, they can have it over the shoulder, read their book, and that light, because it is full spectrum lighting, that would be absorbed by the eye and automatically in that part of the body. So there's a lot of these, you can switch them on when you wake up and it lights up and builds the light. But I mean, we need a lot of vitamin D, much more than we actually have. Nearly every single one of us is deficient in it. So you can use the light just in the room. You can use the light at any period of time. I just go and put the orange one on and lie under it if I'm just feeling like I should be on holiday.
Right, okay.
So that has really had that sort of very positive effect for me. So if I find that I'm just I've overdone it, I just want that relaxation, I'll go and lie under an orange lamp and just with my eyes closed, some soft music, 20 minutes.
And then you feel
great.
And
then I just, it increases my serotonin.
I mean, if we have beautiful weather every day, we have had a few blue skies, but a lot of them been quite stripy, haven't they? But like you say, go on holiday, or if you're going to the sunshine, you just feel better. You open up, don't you? When it's cold, you're hunched up and wearing your black dark coat. But when it's sunny, you're out there expressing and receiving the light. It's such a mental thing, isn't it? A feel-good thing. You know, we smile, we're happier.
We know we can't survive without it.
Yeah, we can't.
I mean, we survive less without light than water.
Yes.
So it is a really important. We are just light, water, and carbon, mainly, and starting to become crystalline. Yeah. So we're even our frequency is changing. So the light is even affecting us more than it has been. And if you go back in history, all the way back, well, I'll go to the Egyptians, which is most probably in the hieroglyphics in the pyramids, there are what you would call menus about how to use the colour. So they used all the different coloured stones. They used to put them at the top of their little pyramids. You'd lie in it, the light would refract around inside. And so, for example, when there was a fire, they'd put jade at the top, and then the green would cleanse the lungs.
Gosh.
They would put indigo, from the smoke. So they would use all different colours in all different ways through their crystals. And if you go in, lots of the different tribes use all of that, but we eat the colour too.
Yes.
So again, our rainbow diet or a rainbow diet should be something that we has all the colours that we absorb. Yeah. So we're actually getting the frequency of the colour as well as the nutrition in the food. Yeah. So it's everywhere.
It's quite amazing having this conversation with you. I've just taken it for granted, having trained in yoga many years ago and knowing about the chakra system and the importance of the colours, but having this conversation, I think, wow, it's so beneficial to bring colours into our lives in every which way, isn't it? Ingesting them, wearing them, having them around the house.
Absolutely.
But you touched on crystalline. You're saying, we're water, we're carbon. They're trying to get rid of us, aren't they? See?
Yes.
Because but we are carbon.
Yes.
That's interesting.
We'll not be able to fart soon, let alone the cows that are not allowed to do it.
Tell me more. What do you think about what's crystalline? Explain what's going on then.
So when you look at a crystal, take a piece of clear quartz,
or
you've got loads around the house. You get your rocks all in different shapes and sizes, and so. Where we've been carbon, which is densely heavy or heavier, we're changing our format in our bodies to a much more crystalline format.
Yeah.
So we're starting to actually merge with those crystals. So things like clear quartz, that are made up of so many different shapes. I'm doing it without the technical, but
Yes,
yeah,
sure.
so the light reflects and refracts through it, and that's exactly what it does to us, not just get absorbed. So we are light carriers, but
Yes.
we're also light givers, as you've already said. So we will be reflecting out the light that we actually are.
Yeah.
And when we're in carbon, it's a bit more dense. So we're not able, we can just cover ourselves up as we become more crystalline. So we're refracting, we're showing out the light. So I definitely see it in the kids that are coming now, the young kids. They just look at you, they're not afraid of that energy. Their light is out there. They're already just showing it.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just something that I sense and see that is different.
A lot of us are worried about the youngsters, aren't we, with what's going on in the world, and they're all on their, stuff, iPhones, iPads and what have you. And we think they don't know what's going on, but a lot of them are coming in and they are very aware. We're not in their skin, we're not wearing their shoes, and we don't know how they're thinking or what their perception is or what their journey is, what their their contract, their soul contract, why they come.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. It's a lot of them aren't. Again, it's what family they choose to come into, I guess, isn't it?
And also how you're influenced.
Yes.
You know as kids you're going to be influenced by the television. If you're in the school system, but if you get that teacher that is on a slightly different journey that you connect with, you have a different view of how the world is.
If you're lucky to have those teachers. I know, thinking my teachers, I had a couple of great ones, but that's going back a long time and the world wasn't as it is now. It's changed so much. But I know my children, they're in their 20s now, and they had teachers that were all of them experienced very domineering teachers. And the importance of a teacher, you can make or break a student, can't you? You can really see that light in them and make them shine and take them to where they're supposed to go, or you can try and knock it out of them. Yeah. Which is, I know what my kids had with some of their teachers, and I was quite often having conversations with the headmaster. I know one of my kids, my son, he was on a school trip, and because he had a fallout with the head teacher, not the head, the sports teacher, he made him sit on a rock for the duration of this school trip. We kicked off about that. It was awful, but when my kids were concerned, they fought back, they rebelled. And I think that's it. If you've got that stamina or that personality or whatever, if you think you're not telling me what to do, you can get yourself into trouble. But I think a lot of the people in the world now sort of fighting the fight that we're fighting are rebels, aren't we? Really?
Well, and I do think it's really interesting in the school part about that with schooling too. Steiner is most probably the biggest influence, Rudolf Steiner, in colour. In terms of schooling, that you go to a Steiner school, the children are taught differently. Yeah. It's not about competition; it's about an equality. Yeah. But also all the rooms are painted in different colours, so the kids experience the different vibrations, and the school uniform is different. And I sit between these two because I think what's great about a uniform is nobody's competing with each other in what designer shoes they have, how much money. Mm-hmm. But the other side is it's a white shirt, normally a black or grey tunic, a skirt or trousers, and you might just get a jumper that maybe has a bit off colour, or it's bright red. Well, for me, if you dress everybody in red, it's a fast energy colour. We all actually emit a colour. So we all, from our date of birth, in the old mystic way, have a colour. Yeah. So, my whole date of birth adds up to a 9, so I'm a gold. Yours adds up to a 3, so you're a yellow. On my website I've got a little app if anybody wants to go and have a look and see what colour they are. So each kid is individual by their colours, but if a red is wearing red, then it's a double dose of red. So you might find that red is quite more competitive, maybe quite feisty. Yeah. If a blue's wearing a red, they might find that quite difficult because it's the opposite of who they really are, where they want to be quieter and observing. They've got a red jumper on all day. It makes a different vibration for them. A violet might have red in a different way. So if you just give it the same colour, it doesn't work either.
Yeah.
In that way, it again, the control of the system, trying to make sure everybody's the same. But then knowing the reds, and reds can be punchy, and they're leaders, so that could happen very early when it doesn't need to. So again, is it okay to have a universal uniform, or is it more? But is it better to have the kids going in their clothes of their own?
Yeah. Maybe within certain restrictions
with the restrictions that can be, so they can pick and feel comfortable where they are, or their parents pick and feel comfortable, helping them to pick and feel comfortable, because it's the absorbing of
and
that
it's creativity, it's expression, isn't it? I mean, there would need to be boundaries, because I know, even again from my own kids going to school, my daughter, when they go to school, leaving the house with the skirt below the knee, and as soon as mum's out the way, or the teachers, they roll it all up, and you can see the kids when they walk past, when you're out and about. So I know it's quite hard to, but maybe that's them rebelling, because they want to wear what they want to wear. They don't have to show all their knickers, but if they were allowed to be more creative and express themselves in other ways rather than being in uniformed. And I always remember my dad, bless him, rest in peace, Dad up there, would say about the penguin suits, the black tie. And that was created, as you said, because it doesn't allow people to compete, like, I've got a better suit or more money than you, because I've got the designer. So they will all wear this uniform, black tie and a sticky bow. The women could dress up as glamorous as they want. But I think it's quite sad, actually. I mean, it's quite smart, but also it does restrict people in these uniforms.
Well, it also makes guys not wear colour.
That's right.
Because it becomes the city. When I first went and worked in the city, and I worked for a Swiss bank at the time, it was a black suit, white shirt, but for me, I always had a totally outrageous handbag or bag colour with a scarf that I would wear. Yeah. But that was the uniform. It's clockwork orange. It said be one of that number.
But they could be a bit sneaky with a very bright tie, couldn't they? That would show a little bit. But ties are actually made to wipe your mouth, and that's how I think a tie came into existence.
Not for that.
Yeah.
But actually has become very important, because if you look at a lot of politicians, you can tell what they're going to preach at you with by what tie colour they have on.
Very subtle, but whether they're red or blue or green.
Exactly. Well, Trump has always got away with a very red.
Yes.
He's always worn red and always been of that red. I know it's the Republican, but it's also, the red pill, the red. It's the being sort of out
very
there
subtle,
to say,
but it's a message.
It's a message.
So we need to be very aware.
And the same with old politicians when they wear blue. Blue is about communication, the throat area, but it's also about truth and integrity. I don't know if politician and truth and integrity go together in that, but I think but that's what they want to carry forward. Yes. Because it's that image. So colour has that image, that subtlety. Yeah. So even though it's actually helping you and working with you, you can use it in a very powerful way. It was used. The police force originally was in navy blue, royal blue, back in the 40s. Now it's in black. And as we've already said, black is not a colour. So we do not look necessarily at our police officers as authority. Yeah. But if we go back on, I'm telling my age now, I think of the Carry On films. Carry On films. No, you don't know them. Yes. Well, I was thinking of Hattie Jake. She's always a good example to me. She was matron, and she was in that royal blue, but matron in a hospital knew everywhere, every bed was, where everybody was, kept the doctors in charge, everything, and they wore that royal blue. Yeah. And that is a colour of authority. Yeah. And when my first job was with IBM in computers back in the 80s, and I had to wear a navy blue suit because it was the authority of IBM at that time was to be part of that. So I always say to people, if you're going for a job interview, wear navy blue more than black, because you're actually giving a little bit more of who you are. Yes. As well as what you're actually going for. If you're going for a role where you can put subtle colours in that will do. So if it's going to be something where there's a lot more creativity, you might put an orange handkerchief in it, or an orange scarf around you. And there's the creative, because orange is all about creativity. And so people would look at that, and I wouldn't dress in whole orange, but look at that there's a creative element. It makes people think about
It's a symbol,
that.
isn't it? That's right, it's a symbolic, and it just opens a door to,
It does. And it gives us joy when we see people dressed. And we go to Panto because we like the humour.
Yeah.
But actually we go for the costumes as well. The colour of all the buttons is always in blue. The relevant people are always in different colours, but if you look at them, the colour will mean what they're actually dressed in. So the pantomime dame is in all colours, and totally OTT.
And it's interesting because I'm not going to go there, but I'm just going to allude to the fact what's happening in our schools at the moment with drag queens going in to teach our children things that I do not want my children to learn at that age. But they're all very brightly dressed and glammed up, aren't they? Which is quite interesting. They're not in their sombre blues and blacks and greys.
No, and very much. I noticed at our local school they had an Elton John day the other day. So most of the kids were in the big orange feathers. I think they was that young that they wouldn't really have got why it was that. That element, and it's fantastic for the stage life it's in. And if you talk to the drag queen, they want that colour, they want to see, because they're entertainment. They're not about a way of life.
Exactly.
And that's where they started, that's where they want to finish, that's who they are.
Exactly.
They're entertainment.
And don't bring it into the schools to influence children in incorrect behaviour.
And I think, for kids with learning, yellow is such a fantastic colour for opening the mind. So all our libraries, when we were young, near and that, but we would have gone to the library as a kid. I know I went, sat at a little table with all the books, but the library was always yellow. So a soft yellow, allowing us to absorb all the text that we were reading. We would sit in colour. That was all part of that process. And I know kids still colour. And all of that. So they're not only absorbing the colour that they're actually working with, they're also experiencing the colour that they're sending out as well.
That's amazing. It's fascinating. My friend from way back, her little boy, when our kids were probably 4 or 5, little Ben, he could see the aura. And it'll be his party piece, because we would say, what colour? Somebody would walk in the house and they'd say, Ben, somebody's just come in the house, what colour? And he'd run around, he'd be a Power Ranger, and he'd come and say, oh, orange, and then he'd go off to play. I really just thought it was fascinating, but of course it's all knocked out, because young children can come in with these gifts, which we all, we can train ourselves to do it, but it's a lot of training, because it's the brain, what's happened to our brain being on this planet for 60 plus years. We've all been indoctrinated, and children, it's knocked out of them. Whereas it should be, it's
natural,
but encouraged.
And if we think of art, and we think of that whole thing, art is a choice that we look at and enjoy. But colour has such a big impact. I mean, we know that 90% of our buying decisions are about colour. If we don't like the colour, we will not purchase whatever it is.
Goods.
And so in the car industry, that's so big. Because there's hardly any green cars. There's a few blue. But there's lots of white.
And a few red.
Thrown in for things. There's a bit of darker, but there's black, sleek, elegant. I mean, black is luxury, elegant, especially if you put it with gold or things like that.
Yes, of course.
But our influence is at it all the time. We're in a supermarket. We're looking for our food. What your food is coloured in has the same influence on it. So it is around us. So why don't we use it for healing? And therefore, it's powerful. If we go back to the 1930s, where you had people like Rife, Steiner went in the 1920s, but that you had all the physicians at that point that were taken out, and nearly all of them did colour therapy. It was part of they would have had glass with colour and shone that light through.
Yeah.
And there are lots and lots of different colour therapists of the time that use light and colour as their sole healing.
Well, I think the ancients knew, like you've already mentioned about Egypt and not the pyramids, but the hieroglyphics, but in Mexico, and it would be the same in Egypt. And if you go to Mexico, you can see the way things have, and the Stonehenge, all these, these massive, whatever you call them, all over the world. They're all over the place, but they've been put in certain places. So when the sun shines, this happens and that happens. So it's incredible. I mean, that's just the sunlight, isn't it? Not so much colour, but we've said how important sunlight is.
Well, it's all the colours together.
Yeah.
So it's only,
yes.
colour is just where you put something in front of the light and it refracts it out. And Isaac Newton knew that, but he must have also known and looked at the Chinese and the Asian and the Indian, where all the colours meant something, because it all means the same thing. And I think the thing is, the visual part of us, sound is our main basis of vibration, and that's our first level. Visual is that's running at hertz. And so we listen to the radio at so many hertz. And then we've got megahertz. So we started off with hertz in computer, now we have megabytes, megahertz. Now vision is terahertz. So the frequency of our vision is trillions. So we're receiving trillions of signals all the time from that light. And it's so complex in our eyes that we actually see the image upside down and then we convert it.
Incredible.
And our cones of our RGB in our eyes are red, green and blue. And what the television does, our eyes do. They automatically merge the colours together. On average, women see about 54 million colours. Men is less, because more of women was to have, you gave birth to babies, where you'd be looking subtly for the change in the skin. And of course men don't quite see that in the same way, because their spatial awareness was much more to chase lunch.
Yes, that's right. They're out hunting, aren't they?
Hunting, looking at things. That's why we can't reverse. And they can see everything.
We can reverse into things. We can reverse just into
things. Absolutely. No, but their comment because their spatial awareness is much bigger. But we see the colour and the impact of that colour. So there's much more colour blindness in men than there are in women, because of the cones or damage to the cones. And then the rods, or whether it's light or dark, so the melatonin. So that also brings me with colour to the fact that our lighting systems are so bad in our throughout the day. So when we're working, we're sitting in a lovely conservatory, so we've got the light coming in naturally. But in that office we've got strip lighting or LEDs or anything like that, but they're not full spectrum.
So I was going to ask you about this, because somebody just gifted me some block blue light bulbs. So can you sort of tell me a little bit about that?
And really important at the moment. So what you have to think about, go back again to our natural habitat, which is when we wake in the morning, we would have been waking up with sunrise, but normally just before. And just before sunrise, the sky is blue, or the light is blue light. And that activates our pineal and pituitary glands. And then as the sun rises, so we get the full spectrum of the colour all through the day until it goes down at the end. Our melatonin drops, we sleep, and then we come round. But just before the sun rises, we get this blue light, and it's our pituitary and our pineal, and it activates our intuition and what we're going to expect for the day. It connects us in to source. That is blue. The problem is that a lot of our lighting has got too much blue in it, so the blue stays all day, when actually the blue should drop off, and then we should get the yellows and the oranges, and then the blue should come later during the afternoon or the evening. So in all of this, we're getting too much. And the blue then is actually damaging us. And we're not getting the full spectrum of our light.
Right.
So when we block the blue during the whole day, so we're sitting on a computer screen, we're looking at our mobile phones, we've also got a light that has got too much blue, we're not outside in the natural, we're missing all the oranges and other things. So the blue protects, or the blocking light allows our eyes to not be on full alert all the time, and allows us to actually have less blue, because that's keeping us awake, that's changing our melatonins, it changes our rhythm of our life. So I use Blue Protect glasses when I'm using a screen. You can have Blue Protect lights, you can have LEDs that protect the blue so that they go orange at night. So you're sitting in front of the fire, and you're winding down.
Right.
Instead of being awake so you can't sleep.
That's amazing.
So if people who can't sleep, it's usually because they've had too much blue light.
Right.
And they've had the screen, too much stimulus.
Been on the phone all day.
And you just want to protect against that. So you can buy the Blue Protect company is great. You can have a nice desk light. You can have bulbs that will change. You can put LEDs in that will change, and it does make a difference. There's no doubt of it. The eye isn't tired. Yeah. It does help you sleep.
Yeah.
Because your body's going back into its natural circadian rhythm.
Yes. Wow. And we just take it for granted, don't we? It's quite fascinating.
Yeah. And I think that for me has been one of the hardest things of industry, shall we say in quotes, of it's the light. Yeah. Because actually if we lived by our natural rhythms, we wouldn't need, I mean, I'm not saying I don't want television, I don't want cinema or use the phones. They're very important.
It's interesting, before all this stuff kicked off, so 2020, wasn't it? I was I had a charity, I set up a charity, and I was building schools in Africa and providing water and trying to prevent the female genital mutilation, FGM, teaching the sewers, they were called, the women that did that. Give them another means to have an income, and it was working really well. And this was in Sierra Leone, the north, where everybody had forgotten about them, basically, sort of very remote places. As I said, didn't have any water, didn't have schools. So we built this one school, and then the elders would use the school to get together and have their meetings and start breaking the desks and the chairs because they were for children. So we had to build them their own space, and then they said, well, we can't see, it's great that we can meet in this like nice rondavelle that we built, but we can't see each other at night. Can you bring in some light? And it was a massive decision for me, and we did solar. We brought them some solar light, but it was a massive decision because I'm thinking now I'm messing up their, we have light in the West, and the rest of Africa kind of had light, but in these remote villages they didn't. And I thought, do I do this or not? But it's changed their lives. So now they are not, going to bed at a normal time. They're going to bed when they want to because they've got the solar light, which they can switch on and off. And I don't know what time they're getting up, but it's messed their rhythm. And it wasn't for me to say, but it was a big decision. Do I or don't I? Anyway, we did, because why do we have to leave them behind? But going back to the circadian rhythm, the natural rhythm of being human, is really important. And I don't follow it. I go to bed really late. It's terrible. I get up early. I go to bed really late because I'm bloody doing stuff, watching another YouTube video.
Yes, that's us doing it on YouTube.
That's right. You get addicted.
But you do.
I just find out more and more, and my eyes are like so sore. I thought I must.
But a lot, the amount of people that say to me, I can't sleep, Alison.
Yes, I know.
And I do think that having the phone in the room, all the EMF side is part of it. But I also think we did do about 10 years ago. We did a couple of us did we organised people that would only have candlelight in the evening, and then the others had their normal everything carrying on. So they weren't allowed to watch telly for a week.
Wow.
They could sit and have their dinner, and then they were in candlelight for the rest of the evening. What they said was at the beginning of the week, they went to sleep very quickly. because they were going to bed. It was in
Yeah.
winter. They were going to bed about sort of 7 o'clock because they were tired. As the week wore on, so they ended up talking more, spending more time communicating like that, only having the firelight, or the candlelight or fire, and they found that it actually brought them closer together. And then they went to bed at 9, have really good night's sleep, and then from the other side, instead of all the stimulus. I don't know how many carried on using some of that, but actually it is a really important part.
Good way to live.
It's a good way to live in that way, and you can buy some really nice little night lights and things like that that do protect. I suppose because I'm so aware of it.
Yeah.
And then my bedroom is indigo. So I have the royal blue in the bedroom. I have a nice sort of velvet throw over the bed. So I go into the bedroom and I leave everything else, and then I just
wind down,
get
a good night's sleep.
Yeah, I have to say I'm extremely lucky, and I have a lot of friends that are very jealous of me because I could go to sleep anywhere.
Yeah.
But that is because I've spent a lot of my time in that focus, and also how important it is to switch off. I am somebody that can leave my phone at home and go out. I'm not have
paranoid about the phone.
Because it's different. It's
the way we live our lives. It's a choice, isn't it?
It is a choice, but I also love technology.
Yeah.
Because I'm amazed by it, and I find it fascinating. I just personally think it's all about balance.
Yeah.
And we are off kilter at the moment. Just driving over to you and coming through the countryside was just because it's autumn and the orange and the leaf drop and everything is just stunning. And when the sun shines in that, you can only think, my God, divine.
Absolutely.
Thank you for this amazing place. And every colour I need is with me now.
Yeah.
And I can absorb that and allow my body to actually take it. So I love the autumn for that. I love the winter where it's more barren and it's darker, but you may get bits of snow. You'll get very, very clear light, which can be hard to drive. And the same thing as I say to people, the company that I use for the lamps, they have a lens which is all the colours, and it's called a fullerene lens. And it spins, it does Tesla technology, so it spins the light, so it goes right down to a cellular level in the body. And it also is incandescent, so in other words it becomes a straight line, so it's like a powerhouse into anywhere on your body. And they now make sunglasses or glasses with those lenses in. They are not cheap, but they are amazing, because I will never wear sunglasses, but at times when I drive, I do need something that will take the glare, and I can't stand the night drive with the blue lights on the cars behind me. So that takes the blue out, so it makes it much more subtle for me to use. And that's very powerful too.
And just as you mentioned sunglasses, I mean, I used to have about 5 pairs on my head because it's like, where's my glasses, where's my pen? And then now I do not wear any. And I had my eyes lasered 10 years ago for reading, because that was another thing. When you go to the optician, I said, oh, can you do anything about my eyes for reading? And they said, oh no, it's just wear and tear and that's it, it's just the way to go. And then I met somebody who said, well, actually you can have them lasered for reading, which I did 10 years ago. I think I need them redone, but for 10 years I've been able to read the small print on a mustard jar. And then I heard somebody say somewhere along the line, sunglasses are blocking out the natural light. Your body, once the light goes into your eyes know what to do to stop it getting sunburnt and what have you. So I just stopped wearing sunglasses, and it's amazing. It's amazing because I don't think, where are they all the time? And I don't need them. My body, I just don't need them. It's just
it's
really
only
weird.
for driving for me when it's
Yeah.
low light.
Yeah, I get
That's
that.
the bit that you need to be, because it's glare.
And it is tiring driving at night. I mean, I find that, especially with a car behind me, sometimes I think I'm going to pull over and you can overtake, because it's just this glare constantly.
It is, and I think that's but really important for me too. I'm like you. I had my eyes laser treated in 2005, and like you, 20/20 vision, and because I'm so aware of that, I don't use the sunglasses for the same thing.
Yeah.
And it just keeps my eyes in
good.
And I don't. Some people will sun gaze and look at the sun.
Yeah.
For me, it's not to look at all of that, but I just allow the light to come in wherever it needs to, so that you're just absorbing it straight down in your body, and it's just so important. The amount of people that I do see with sunglasses, that especially being down by the coast and walking along, and I just think, I just want to say, please just take them off. Allow. The Vit D is what we're all deficient in.
Absolutely.
We should be taking well over 4,000 a day IDUs or whatever it is called. But you can get it from if you're out there. If you're out and you're walking, and just allow that light, to come in.
Did you hear the story many years ago of in Saudi Arabia, where the women are wearing those Dalek things? I can't remember the proper
burqas.
Thank you, the burqas. They were suffering from deficiency in vitamin D. They were actually. I don't know if it's scurvy or whatever it is. I don't think it's scurvy. That's lack of vitamin.
Rickets and things like that.
And then they'd go and go to the doctors, and the doctors say, well, you are lacking vitamin D because you're covered up in your Dalek suit. Or sorry, that sounds disrespectful. Into your burqas. Don't mean to be disrespectful at all. Sorry, wipe that, but I won't. But yeah, it just shows that don't cover yourself up.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, it doesn't help with anything. It doesn't help with any of that. And actually, we're supposed to. The light was given to us to absorb, and that's what we.
And I won't go on that. I just mention, because I know sometimes they are trying to block the light up by various reasons, aren't they? Because it's blue at the moment, a few natural clouds, but I guarantee, because when it's blue, 3 o'clock, I normally see them come out and start playing noughts and crosses, and the next day's grey and
and they're not getting it, and that is and we're not getting it. But and for me, the opposite in the summer, or when there's a lot, the best thing you could ever do is just wear a hat.
Yes.
So you don't need to wear sunglasses. You just need to wear some sort of hat if it's really hot.
Yes, that's right.
Protect it and protect your shoulders, because that's where the burn will be. I always say to people, they say, I love sunbathing, and there's nothing wrong with sunbathing, but every animal will sunbathe in the morning and in the late afternoon, but it will go under a tree.
Yes, and you'll still get that.
And you'll still get that absorption.
Something about
with everything.
Mad dogs. An English
Exactly.
Amber. Amber, again, another colour. Because she came out as an amber dog, but now she's sort of, I don't know, mishmash colour. Alison, it's fantastic. I know you and I talk a lot anyway, because we've got so much in common, but that's fascinating. How can people find out more about you and what you do, and getting these lamps if they want to, get involved?
Yeah, of course.
What's your website?
Yeah, my website is thecolourministry.co.uk. So or colourministry.co.uk is on the website. I'm also on Instagram, Facebook, so as the Colour Minister. So lots of people tend to end up calling me. And I'm also on Eventbrite. I do quite a lot of free. I'm doing one on light bulbs actually tomorrow night, and about the Blue Protect as well.
Oh, that's interesting.
So I'm on there. But I do something every month on something to do with colour. So
and is that updated on your website?
And that's updated on my website.
So
I also have newsletters. So we're moving into orange this month. So December is a month because it's the number resonates to frequency, and the frequency is orange. So actually, this is a great month for Christmas, for everybody to be with each other, to have fun and to be social and just enjoy. And to feel a bit free. So not to feel too trapped this winter. So in this December. Get out there, out and about, see people, do
Right.
the things that you really want to do, be creative. It's a very open colour and it's warm, so it's about being with people. So I do that in my newsletter. So yes, thecolourministry.co.uk.
And I'll put it on the description
Lovely.
when I upload this.
Oh, it's been a pleasure, Karen,
Yeah,
to
always
actually
is, yeah.
sit with you
And
and
have a good old
a
chit chat.
good chit chat about colour and everything
Well, I'm
as
sure we
well.
can find other subjects.
Oh,
I
we've
just
got
thought, yeah,
plenty, I'm
we'll
sure.
do another one. But on that note, thank you very much for those watching this Wise Women Weekdays. If you like it, give us a thumbs up. If you want to hear more, subscribe and do share. All right, I'm going to come and press the button now to turn us off. Hopefully, well, maybe that button.